Welcome. My name is Melissa, and I will be your cosmic guide today. We're going to talk a little bit about the energies that are going on right now. We're going to talk about the Great Awakening because that is kind of what's happening. And we're going to talk about some of the layers of what's happening in our consciousness and our surroundings and circumstances and atmosphere, so we understand the energies or the awakening parts for ourselves, for our lives, for our families, a little bit more. So, welcome. And I realized it was a little bit funny because I have been using my Genesis tuning fork a whole lot lately. And I've had a lot of people come, or us work on even remote healing, but people come to my office that I was not meaning to have. And we're doing lots of clearing and healing work and aligning to their destinies, their highest good, their soul contracts that are upcoming now as we leave this old cycles and old phases and old lifetimes and old soul wounds in the dust. So I realized, like, how cool is this? This is the whole point, and it's written on my tuning fork. So part of what's going on, and in these last weeks, we've had an enormous wave of awakening. I mean, like, big, and that has been happening in the last, certainly been happening in the last years, decades. However, this is like the big kahuna of shifting, changing, growing. And people have also been calling me and texting me and emailing me and texting me and calling me and asking me, like, if something's up in the energy and wanting to know what's, like, if something's getting ready to go down or go up or happen, or something getting ready to happen. And the answer is yes. Big kahuna of awakenings going on right now. And I'm just going to do a little clearing of our energy with the Genesis tuning fork. The Genesis tuning fork is meant to bring us back into a pure tone of the beginning spark, back to the beginning, clean, clear, whole. And part of the way that for a long time I've been describing things, just because the words there's not enough in our vocabulary to understand the depth of our awakening, ascension, all these things. But a good template to share might be the Garden of Eden. So what we're doing, in essence, in humanity, in our consciousness, is coming back into the original, from the very beginning, Garden of Eden, and the lines, the Adamic tribes lines, that means humans, by the way, and realigning and reactivating our royal bloodlines and bringing us back to the beginning before the fall and before the tainted Garden of Eden, Satan's, devils, demons, snakies, evil took over and just hijacked the whole schnizzbit. So I am delighted to tell you that we are possibly further along than it appears and feels to all of us. So again, I'm going to do one more ding of the Genesis. When we use a tuning fork or listen to the solfeggio tones or whatever it is that we're doing, it expands our energy and puts us in an alignment or recalibration to consciousness and frequency that is higher for us. So I might just keep this with me for days and continually go back to the Genesis and reteach my own self how to come out of my imbalanced or tainted Garden of Eden shadow stuff in myself, my soul wounds, my pain, my victimhood, my suffering, my anger, my anguish. So all of those things, all of um, those words that I'm using about my own shadow is also in the collective consciousness. So we could say the narcissist versus the empaths, imbalanced, codependent, unaware wounds is what that is, fragmented pieces. Coming out of bondage. We could use the word hunger. If it's really, it's a suffering term, that there have been ever people in this world that have been hungry. Starvation, loss, grief, illness, disease. These things are in our templates, in our consciousness. It's almost like our computer programs, right? These bugs and things are in our viruses, are in our templates, our own computer programs of the world and how the world works. And they're in the mass collective consciousness templates, and we're clearing them. That's what we're doing. Be sure to tip your light worker and light warrior and loved ones that have been working on this for decades. Yes, you can also send me $284,000 that was kind of stolen, conned, scammed out of me in the last years. I don't know. I'll call it back in somehow. I'm just giggling. But please remember that each person is going through their own experience. We don't know what it is. We don't know what kind of pain or soul wounding or shadow that they have been through. And we don't know why they're acting and reacting in certain ways. But if we can have compassion and really step out of judgment and certainly step out of each other's energies, it can help with the cleansing process so that the distortion in each of us, as well as each layer, each system of the world, each layer of how things work, each layer of everything, systems are cleared out easier. So there's distortion in everybody and everything, possibly some more than others. So if we stand back and, of course, as always, it begins with each one of us, we can realize and start recognizing these templates, these layers, other templates that that we can have definitions for. There's probably a billion, but some that we have definitions for that some of us have recognized or we resonate with are templates of, like, the lost city of Atlantis or Lemuria, which they also call Mu, because I really like to say that, Mu. And how about Avalon, King Arthur templates, Merlin. I was thinking about them the other day and I had a few more. But we'll take those. And if you've ever watched any King Arthur movies or Merlin movies or things of that nature, there's the old, there's Celtic old school flair to it. And there's always magic and the druid magicians and those who worship the earth and they see God in the earth. They were persecuted always in all of those movies. And then, of course, there was some jackass that was like doing black magic and killing off people and keeping people separate and keeping their twin flames separate. And for the love of nachos, using dragons in the incorrect way. Because I gotta say, dragons are pretty much not from here. And the dragons were also enslaved to this dark space and had some old janky, skanky soul contracts as well that pretty much weren't their idea either. So much of what we have all gone through, think about this. If you go, oh, you should just let go and know you have a lesson, I would like to ask you to think in these terms just for a second. Who learns lessons from pure evil, murder, rape, atrocity, bondage, abuse. We all have. We have many times. This is just not helpful or relevant. It's just not. So it causes soul trauma, bad soul trauma. It causes loss, death, destruction, backstabbing, betrayals. Some of these are the top tactics of the darkness. That we've been betrayed, that we've had great loss, that we've had much crime committed against us, that we've had people manipulate us, which is also just, it's in the handbook. Man, I've read part of the handbook for, yes, it's on the top two. Manipulation and betrayal are the top two. Sympathy for the devil is also in the top three tactics to harm someone's soul, fragment a person. These things are being addressed, whether we're conscious of them or not, whether we use those words or not, because I mean, I hope we're not all thinking about how our soul wounds have been hurting us while we're eating lunch and having fun and going to have a beer with your people. Those things are not always top of discussion lists, but that we are aware and awakening and addressing them in ourselves and our daily lives, as apathy is spread out like peanut butter over the sandwich and just sort of suffocates us all the time. We're reversing that, coming out of the tainted Garden of Eden and realizing we are all important. We have all mattered. We are all precious and irreplaceable, all of us. And that's what I've said in some different circumstances over the last years, especially. I was always just supportive and so excited to see some of the people's progress in their lives, whatever that meant. The healing that they were doing and how they would unfold whatever they wanted to choose. I was so excited, and that really was used against me really badly in my home origins places, and really caused some targeting. So it was like this totally fabricated backward stuff, and I was like, so I had to leave again. But to allow our to me, it's the cool part is to recognize those things and the things in our lifetimes that we can heal at a soul core level and come back into I was just pulling a card and guess what came out? Passions, to be ourselves. And like the young man asked me this morning in the reading, he was saying, I'm just kind of not so sure about this. My interests are physics. I don't know anyone that's like, hey, I'm just all into physics. But we are, some of us are. And I go all the way back, realizing that being, loving red lipstick, having, blonde hair, being a bouncy, joyous, happy person, and letting my light shine really annoys people sometimes, or it has in the past. And my interests in music and science were just beaten down. And so I just was quiet. I swear to you, in the last years, probably the last 4 years, anytime I thought, forget it, forget it. I should never express anything about me. People were so oppressive and wanted me to be quiet. They said, oh yeah, we like you, but, and things like that. And no one heard me. No one saw me. No one knew my heart, and no one cared. And I know I'm not the only one, so that I'm not trying to whine or be whiny about it, but the reason I'm saying this is we have all been smashed behind projections, other people's walls, so much that we were just like, fine, I'll just shut up. And that's inappropriate. That's the inverted matrix. That's the tainted Garden of Eden. I'm the light. I always stand in integrity to the best of my abilities. I'm a happy person. My heart is so full of love. People wanted to block that. Take it. Take my job. Take my money. Take my dignity. Take my health. And I'll tell you about the black magic people and the black magic lady, another video. It's just so bizarre and interesting. The way it is unfolding, or the way I had to, in my own life, had to see it. And I'm very grateful. But the truth is, the energies of this earth in the past tried to stop all of us from being our true selves. And that's what my main, one of my main themes in my life path to share with others. I always saw our value, our worthiness. I mean, I've had some up and down days. So have you. We all lose sight of it. But I always saw the light. And I always saw the value and worthiness in people around me. And it's time for us to rewrite the scripts of the new archetypes that are really the old ones from the very beginning of time. And the archetypes mean roles that we play. And whatever you choose, whoever you are, whoever you came here to be, are royal DNA lines. We've been working on generational patterning, clearing, curses, all that kind of stuff for a really long time. And it's not just that, it's in the earth. So Mother Earth, Gaia, was like, look, y'all have been projecting and being kind of stupid. So the dark beings are right around you. These things are false. Please be your full self, and I'm going to shake it up a little bit. So Mother Earth has been shaking it up a little bit over the last years, showing us how to be ourselves, showing us how to cleanse some of these soul wounds, fragments, all those things, and bringing it home to its natural state, to our original divine blueprint of the Garden of Eden, where we will create the new scripts for our new light matrix that will overtake and balance out the reckoning, balance out, level up, balance, bring us in yin yang balance on our for the rest of our lives, for our children and our grandchildren, so they no longer have to live in oppression and bondage of seriously ignorant things like that women are to be abused, and it's okay to treat people with dark hair or tiny heinies with lesser people, or if I came from a different neighborhood than you, that I was lesser or unintelligent. This is one of my all-time grossest things that pissed me off, that tripped me up a lot. I am, in my background that I've said before, I have been the recipient of some severe, unbelievable, hunted, stalking, violent crime, and true predator focus, psychopathic stuff. It's shocking that I'm alive, and it's shocking that I am able to be my whole light self many times over. And in that, the healing, how do I say this? It also gave other predators, like my hometown predators, some ideas to do it again to me. So that was icky. But seeing that, because I'm a badass and I'm strong, and I came here to help all of us find the fragmented soul wounds so that we could heal our hearts and have the best lives ever, be able to be our true selves. So if I couldn't do it 3 decades in a row, dealing with psychopathic predator people. Man, I would not wish this on anyone, nor would I actually wish anyone to live through it. Horrifying. The damage that it does to your soul. And so some of those types of people have touched all of our lives. Hopefully not to the extent of mine or some of the people we've seen on the television. But to be able to shift out of these things and heal in the mass consciousness and choose our archetypes on how to, I guess, rewrite the scripts of how we want things to go. I don't think bad psychopaths things are happening. Demons aren't infesting the heavens, heaven, because people aren't being violated there. They're being balanced in those frequencies, and that's what we're bringing to this planet. This is a big wave right now. It's so good. And that's why I'm honored to be able to go ahead and be myself, whether someone doesn't like it or not, but to also be able to say, I recognize it in you. I recognize your value, beauty, and I have no qualms in saying that in these next days, weeks, months, and years, we're going to come back together where we can live in harmony, and we can have so many differences, and we can be connected with our, not only our soul tribes and our twin flames and our soul flames and families, but we don't have to live by everyone else's rules, and it will come into balance and into tune, as I like to say, in the right way. As we shed the heavy burdens of the past, the shadows of the past, and we rebuild so that everyone fits, everyone belongs, everyone has plenty, no one needs more. We all have homes, our children are safe, and we respect one another. And that's what's coming back in. It was profound talking to that young man today, because there were like 84 other things that I was like, what? Some of the other templates are have to do with, like, I don't know, let's just say the Greek gods, right? Which I am drawn to. I like that. I want to see a movie about that. I want to resonate with that. And weirdly, in the last months, for the right people, as people call me for being a badass, renowned medium, psychic medium for the last 30 years. Often it's time to speak to our loved ones that have crossed over, our parents, our daughters, our sons, our siblings, our grandparents, our parent, all these things. But also our guides and guardian angels, our ancestors, our councils, our angels and divine beings that help us or connected to us, or our higher selves, often speak and bring in messages, answers, truth that helps each person heal. And lately there's been like gods and goddesses, and I've been seeing that over the last year too. I just didn't want to say it, because if I ruffle any feathers and say, yes, the gods and goddesses are speaking to us, and they're trying to get us to see how to come into balance, or helping us become untainted, coming out of that lower matrix. The biggest thing that's going on right now, the biggest thing ever that's ever happened to us in this ascension, this time. We've done some ascensions before, but nothing like this, is that we are unplugging from the darkest, creepy, skankiest, grossest devil matrix ever that hijacked us and took us over. And we are also eradicating some of the dark concepts of or beings or entities like the devil, like demons, like dark aliens. And by the way, someone on an appointment asked me the other day, she said, excuse me, she said, I don't know how to say this, but I think something's happening and that the skies are full of extraterrestrials. Um, and I said, yeah, you don't say? And she said, yeah. She said, I think something in this November, December, into this next year of 2022 we're coming into. We're looking forward to that. She said, I think there's something about them connecting with us and us being able to really comprehend that there are multi-dimensions and there are other beings in this universe and all around us. And I said, you don't say. So that's always been a big one for me because all the years I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, UFOs. And I asked her, I said, are you aware that I have a UFO tour company? And she said, no. And I said, well, there's a dream of mine for a really long time because people throughout the years, many years, either come to me for hypnosis, different things to past lives. Do I know extraterrestrials? All kinds of stuff comes up. And just since I was a little kid, I could talk to them and the light ones. And she said, no, I didn't know. I didn't know you had a UFO tour. And I said, well, sometimes doing readings and being psychic medium, we talk about death and destruction and murder and pain and suffering so great that it's hard. So it's hard, so I got to add on, part of my dream was to add on the ability for all of us to kind of share together, learn together, grow together. She said, so what do you think? Are there extraterrestrials, divine beings, light ships? Are they going to let us know that they're here? And I said, to me, they've already allowed that. And I said, do I think they're all going to land in our yards, come say hello, and dun, 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 start playing, music like they did in Close Encounters of the Third Kind? I don't think it's exactly going to go down like that, but I think disclosure's been happening for a long time. I think all of us know. And the uncovering of all of these government files that are secret in the last years and lately are showing us that, yes, that I think we are going to connect. Because in the original Garden of Eden, we realize we're not the only species, but we are a precious God's children species. And we're all connected. So some of the extraterrestrials are divine beings as well. We're going to keep it all in the light family, please, I say. And become more aware and expanded in our understanding and growth in our knowledge about that as well. So I think in all layers, we're going to really wake up to the remembrance of not only who we are, and maybe a little galactic fun, a little bit of star beings going on, but also remember the truth, the knowledge about our divinity, and how to get our, bring our power back into our sovereignty, our truth, our source, us, and always have that beautiful connection. And the truth is, this is a light universe that always was meant to be. So we did a little, got off track a little bit there with that experiment to see about everyone's separation from the light, from God in them. And it got sort of taken over by some gross, dark, demony things. That slithery, snaky in the Garden of Eden thing, we're clearing it over and over and over and over, every layer of who we are, to stand in our divinity and take our place in the universe, take our place in the galaxy, and take our place with each other and in the heaven on earth that we've known this. This is what we came here for. Hello. I'm going to pick a couple of cards from the Gateway, since we just had the 1111 Gateway. The Gateway Oracle deck by Denise Linn. Emerging into Grace. That's what I'm talking about. I open my soul to grace. And the other one too came out. So the other one is taking action. I enthusiastically embrace life's boundless possibilities. It's also been one of my key things to say is that we have limitless possibilities, endless possibilities. And so I would like to finish up, and I'm just going to pull one more card just to see if there's anything else that I have not said very well, that I've not helped with. And yes, I'll get back to channeling. You can make fun of me. I did that on purpose to be the sort of a little bit extra out of the box. And I had some of the people around me finally admitted they were trying to block me and not let me do some stuff. And they were purposely trying to make sure I didn't work. And I thought, look, this cycle has happened again. Like, I don't know, I'm not thinking about you. That's what I was thinking. So I sort of cleansed and cleared and worked on that in my own shadow. Like, what in me is wounded enough to have other people focus on you just enough to try to ruin your life again. And I thought, oh, I know that's happening to a lot of people, not just me. So I'm seeing the grace of God, grace sweep in, help us recognize this and align us where we are supposed to be. You belong. You're the light. And that is the truth. Well, I mean, for some people, unless you are a predator, assassin, trying to harvest some souls, do some black magic. We're not talking about you, but you're here. If you're watching this video, you could even care about it. I'm guessing that you're the light, and you're important and precious and irreplaceable. And I see you. I see it in you, even if others haven't. Even if we forget in ourselves, in our mirror image, if we forget, just know I believe it for you. Okay. Oh, this is nice. And I like that with the grace card as well. This one is deep replenishment. This is Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell. Cards, and it says retreat, rest, and be held. It's been so long since I have felt that way, and I've been trying to do that in the last months. I mean, I moved everything across the country in the last month. I am still putting the finishing touches on my house and now my home office, right outside of Sedona, Arizona. And it's been so much fun. I realized I love this place so much. I am where I belong. And my person is, we can connect. It doesn't matter how far we are. But that deep replenishment, I keep saying, I need to rest. Leave me alone to people. And so that's when people call more and have emergencies and stuff and ask me to do stuff and do more and drive here and do this and things like that. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. So I am really excited that I'm learning how to replenish and step into grace, even if it takes a long time, even if I am not what others want me to be. That processing in the last year, I've been working on myself so much, but that part of the process has been really cool. It's also helped me learn how to do a little bit better boundaries when others absolutely have no respect for me or my life or my body or my career or anything. And that's been really cool. So I'm seeing that in other people, and I'm guessing in mass consciousness, these things, each step that we take, lift up into mass consciousness, and that also holds this new earth grid, which is really layers. It's like architecture. So that we're all respected and others reciprocate to us and treat us with dignity and integrity, which seems to be the inverted matrix, not so much the normal way of life. And so just know when you need to rest, when you need to not speak, when you need to look within, whatever it is that's right for you, know that you are allowed to take a break and everything's going to be okay. And I'll just finish it up as I'm going to go back to this one that's, can you even see that? Sorry, that wasn't easy to see, but it says emerging into grace. So with each step that we take in collective consciousness, we're all emerging into grace. And I'm really proud of everybody that of the last years that I've got to cross paths with. I love humanity so much. And so I'm just going to finish up with a dorky prayer some of the things that I like to say, and why people call me about magic all the time. They're like, oh, how do you know how to do that? And I'm like, to me, it's just a prayer. Highest good only. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. We love you all. But I'm just going to finish up with a prayer. Now and forever full of grace. The light of God, source, immerse our space, lift our minds and hearts and spirits and souls, and heal the wounds that have ripped us apart, and open up our eyes to the light, to where we belong, and into our hands. I ask for our destinies, into our hearts, the clearing of all that has been, that has harmed us, and the connection be reawakened and reactivated, which it has been, by the way, over and over, but more and more. That we are connected in our hearts in wholeness and only pure divine love with each other, and help us open our eyes and recognize and no longer have problems, ickies, imbalances, everything unlike love, arguments, all that kind of stuff with others, so that we can recognize our true soul family, and all control and all issues and circumstances and our heartbreaks, the disappointments be swept away by the light, as we fall into grace, fall into our own light, and be connected with the right people at the right time. And, if you have a twin flame, if you have a divine counterpart, if you have a starseed soul flame, go ahead and text them, call them, even if you can't be together yet, and just recognize the light, recognize the good in others, and encourage, uplift, enhance, support those things, as we all lift in consciousness together. We're doing a good job. I'm really proud of all of us. And reminded someone today, perhaps if I may ask or suggest, that they're important. And you might not get it. You might not like them. You might not know them very well. You might have really misunderstood them in the past, or judged them incorrectly too. But if you think about it, I would like to ask that in the next day or two, maybe to remind somebody that you see them, you see their light, and that all that was said and done in the past, and probably past lives too, is undoing, and you can come together and, again, could break out into song and come together and love one another right now. You guys take care. Have a really wonderful week, and I shall see you soon. And I will leave you with one more cool card. Oh, I want romantic love. I had 3 self-described twin flames, and all of them were ass bags. And that could be an understatement. So I'm not really working on myself. Wasn't really in like big committed to relationships, but the commitment over the last years has been to me in that. But I got romantic love for our last card, which are the Sacred Geometry Activations cards. Open up our hearts, and it doesn't have to be romantic love for sure, but I'm asking for the love to flow through our hearts and heal every angle, aspect, layer in each one of us. Highest good. The frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole, complete, through the experience and reflection, mirrored souls, of a conscious lover. So blessings all. Take care.